Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Narayanam Namaskrityam Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudiraye Nashtaprayeshu Abhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. We have been reading from Bhagavatam 5th Canto, Chapter 12, conversations between Jada Bharat and Maharaj Rahugana. For those who are not here, I think this is a beautiful portion of the Bhagavatam, wherein the life history of Maharaj Bharat is described. His 3 lives. When he was Maharaj Bharat, he was a brilliant devotee, and he, unfortunately, although he renounced his kingdom, wealth, treasury, wife, acquaintances, everything, and went to the forest to meditate on Krishna, he had a fall down. He got too attached to a deer and he died hugging the deer. Very unfortunate and strange sounding incident. But then he was born as a deer in his next life, and in the body of a deer he regretted having lost the opportunity to make spiritual progress, and due to that he was extremely careful and cautious in his life as a deer. He was an exceptional deer. He was able to remember his past life. And then he passed away again as a deer. Then he took birth in a Brahmin family as Jada Bharat. And there he was super cautious. He even cut off any association with the external world. And he never related with everybody, including his relatives, including even his father and mother. Then finally, he, for the first time, sort of opened his mouth and spoke very rich, realized wisdom to Maharaj Rahugana. Because Maharaj Rahugana, he chastised him for carrying his palanquin in an improper way, and made fun of him and made sarcastic remarks. Because he did that, Jada Bharat, by the arrangement of the Lord, opened up and started speaking. That conversation is a very brilliant conversation. Especially, it's a conversation about how the body is different from the soul, how we are all spiritual in nature, and how we identify ourselves with our body, and how that is the greatest illusion. To be attached to the body, to be attached to people associated with our body, to actually think that life means, identity means my body and me, is considered to be the greatest illusion. It is the greatest illusion, because we are not the body. But whole material life means it moves around the body, rotates around the body. All our conceptions are based on the body. Our mind, our intelligence, everything is focused on a bodily platform, on the bodily conception of life. That's the greatest illusion. And somehow or the other, we discussed yesterday how by the mercy of pure devotees like Jada Bharat, a person can make the transformation from bodily life to spiritual life. And that is a very great step, and that step has to be taken by every human being at some time. In some janma, he has to do that. And that can be accelerated by the presence of a pure devotee. A devotee's presence, an association that a person has, can change his entire situation. And we heard also examples of that, Narada Muni changing the life of many. So here I'm going to read a few shlokas from Bhagavatam. But what Maharaj Raghuna is saying, Manasvino nirjita diggajendra mameti sarve bhuvi baddha vairaha mride shayiran natutat vrajanti yanyasta dando gatavairo bhiyadati. There were and are many political and social heroes who have conquered enemies of equal power. Yet due to their ignorance and believing that the land is theirs, they fight one another and lay down their lives in battle. They are not able to take up the spiritual path accepted by those in the renounced order. Although they are big heroes and political leaders, they cannot take to the path of spiritual realization. Purport by Prabhupada. Big political leaders might be able to conquer equally powerful political enemies, but unfortunately they cannot subdue their strong senses. The enemies that always accompany them, not being able to conquer these nearby enemies, they simply try to conquer other enemies and ultimately they die in the struggle for existence. They do not take to the path of spiritual realization or become sannyasis. Sometimes these big leaders take up the guise of a sannyasi and call themselves Mahatmas, but their only business is conquering their political enemies. Because they spoil their lives with the illusion of this is my land and my family, they cannot progress spiritually and attain liberation from the clutches of Maya. Prasajjati kvapilata bhujashrayas tat ashaya vyakta padad vijaspraha Kvachit kadachit dhari chakratastrasan sakyam vidate bhakakanka grudhrai. Sometimes a living entity in the forest of material existence takes shelter of creepers and desires to hear the chirping of the birds in those creepers. Being afraid of roaring lions in the forest, he makes friends with cranes, herons and vultures. In the forests of material world, there are many animals and birds, trees and creepers. Sometimes a living entity wants to take shelter of the creepers. In other words, he wants to be happy by being embraced by the creeper-like arms of his wife. Within the creepers, there are many chirping birds. This indicates that he wants to satisfy himself by hearing the sweet voice of his wife. In old age, however, he sometimes becomes afraid of imminent death, which is compared to a roaring lion. To save himself from the lion's attack, he takes shelter of some bogus swamis, yogis, incarnations, pretenders and cheaters. Being misled by the illusory energy in this way, he spoils his life. It is said, Harim vina mritim na taranti. No one can be saved from the imminent danger of death without taking shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. The word Hari indicates the lion as well as the Supreme Lord. To be saved from the hands of Hari, the lion of death, one must take shelter of the Supreme Hari, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. People with a poor fund of knowledge take shelter of non-devotee cheaters and pretenders in order to be saved from the clutches of death. In the forest of the material world, the living entity first of all wants to be very happy by taking shelter of the creeper-like arms of his wife and hearing her sweet voice. Later, he sometimes takes shelter of so-called gurus and sadhus who are like cranes, herons and vultures. Thus, he is cheated both ways by not taking shelter of the Supreme Lord. Tairvanchito hamsakulam samavishan arochayan shilamupaiti vanaran tajjatirasena sunirvritendriyaihi parasparodvikshana vimsritabhidai. Being cheated by them, the living entity in the forest of the material world tries to give up the association of these so-called yogis, swamis and incarnations, comes to the association of real devotees, but due to misfortune he cannot follow the instructions of the spiritual master or advanced devotees. Therefore he gives up their company and again returns to the association of monkeys who are simply interested in sense gratification and women. He derives satisfaction by associating with sense gratifiers and enjoying sex and intoxication. In this way, he spoils his life simply by indulging in sex and intoxication. Looking into the faces of other sense gratifiers, he becomes forgetful and thus approaches death. When the living entity becomes exactly like a monkey jumping from one branch to another, he remains in the tree of household life without any profit but sex. Thus he is kicked by so many situations, just like a sea ass. When unable to gain release, he remains helplessly in that position. Sometimes he falls victim to an incurable disease, which is like falling into a mountain cave. He becomes afraid of death, which is like the elephant in the back of that cave, and he remains stranded, grasping at the twigs and branches of a creeper. O killer of enemies, Maharaj Rahugana, if the conditioned soul somehow or other gets out of his dangerous position, he again returns to his home to enjoy sex life. For what is the way of attachment? Thus, under the spell of the Lord's material energy, he continues to loiter in the forest of material existence. He does not discover his real interest even at the point of death. My dear King Rahugana, you are also a victim of external energy being situated on the path of attraction to material pleasure. So that you may become an equal friend to all living entities, I now advise you to give up your kingly position and the rod by which you punish criminals. Give up attraction to the sense objects and take up the sword of knowledge sharpened by devotional service. Then you will be able to cut the hard knot of illusory energy and cross to the other side of the ocean of nescience. King Rahugana said, this birth as a human being is the best of all. Even birth among the demigods and the heavenly planets is not as glorious as birth as a human being on this earth. What is the use of the exalted position of a demigod? In the heavenly planets, due to profuse material comforts, there is no possibility of associating with devotees. It is not at all wonderful that simply by being covered by the dust of your lotus feet, one immediately attains the platform of pure devotional service to Adokshaja, which is not available even to great demigods like Brahma. By associating with you just for a moment, I am now freed from all argument, false prestige and lack of discrimination, which are the roots of entanglement in the material world. Now I am free from all these problems. I offer my respectful obeisances unto the great personalities, whether they walk on the earth's surface as children, young boys, avadhutas, or great brahmanas. Even if they are hidden under different guises, I offer my respects to all of them. By their mercy, may there be good fortune in the royal dynasties that are always offending them. Om Tat Sat, Om Ajnana Timirandasya, Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena, Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Mukham karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripa tamaham vande Shri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Reach that very idealistic situation immediately. But at least we should accept that this is a fact. In order to accept that that is a fact, we should at least have some basic knowledge of who I am, body, spirit, soul. What's the aim and goal of life is very important. Because life just goes off between your fingers very fast. You're in the jaws of death and you're going to finish your life. The illusion is that we think we are going to live for very long and all our relatives and acquaintances and our material situation will be with us. No. We always get shocked by the way things change. Even if you go to see your horoscope and go to the Jyotish man and get things predicted, still you are under the illusion that certain things will happen differently. But material nature functions as it is supposed to, and our hopes and all get crushed. That is why the Bhagavatam is repeatedly telling here, Jadabharat is using very strong words to Maharaj Rahugana. Genuine sadhus always tell the fact. They tell the fact. It is not at all nice to hear. For most people, that is why it's not nice to hear. We cannot hear palatable things. We want to hear nice stories, nice encouragement, get blessings for our material life, and we want to proceed. This is what we desire. But then if you meet a sadhu like Jadabharat, he will not give you, this is the type of instruction he is giving to Rahugana. He is saying, you are also like that only. Jadabharat is telling Rahugana, you are also a fool. Don't think you are a king. Give up the rod of punishment that you are handling in your hand and think that you are a boss that you can beat everybody like you try to beat me. Give it up. Don't be a fool. Don't become a fool in the hands of material nature. And become a devotee of the Lord. Start serving the Lord and become self-realized. This is the goal. We should not compromise at any time with any other type of alternative which we think is right. This is the alternative. The alternative is how to become a lover of Krishna, how to become a devotee, how to become free from all material conceptions. Material conceptions are very painful for the soul. Apparently they look very nice. See? And our only way is to see truth through the eyes of the Bhagavatam, see the truth through the eyes of devotees. Same way previously Narada Muni came with Angira Muni and also told King Chitraketu, you are a foolish person. You are so foolish that even if I chastise you, you will not understand. Jadabharat here knew that Maharaj Rahugana has the intelligence to understand that he is chastising him for good. Like yesterday I mentioned to you, Upadesha hi murkhanam parkopayana shantaye. Sometimes we take advantage with somebody who knows and who has intelligence and we can scold him, put him in the right place. Sometimes you scold the wrong person, they can get angry with you, avoid you, never see you again. Because the instructions didn't get across. So Narada Muni also met King Chitraketu. He didn't scold him, he didn't tell him anything. Because this person is so absorbed in his hopes, in his kingly duties, that he will misunderstand. Chitraketu was lamenting and crying. He has 100 wives, no children. He tried marrying 100 times to get a heir to the throne, to get a child, to get one son. He had no children. So he became so morose. So what can you do? He's not able to accept the fact that I am not going to have a child in this lifetime. Forget it. Let's adjust ourselves to that. He's not able to do that. He tried 100 wives. Nothing worked. All of them were barren. They couldn't conceive. So Chitraketu was very morose. So Narada and Angira Muni came there. They asked him, why are you morose? And then he spoke his whole heart out. What is the use of my life? What's the use of being a king? I cannot produce issues. I cannot do my grahastha duties. It is like this. So Narada Muni saw that this person will not understand because he has tried 100 times and still he is not giving up. He still thinks he needs a child. He has not adjusted himself to the fact that, okay, this is not going to happen to me. Let's forget it. That's my life. Let's adjust. Go ahead. So he said, don't worry. I'll bless you to have a child. So he became very happy. Narada Muni planned that the way to teach this person is a different way. He is a great teacher. So he told him, Chitraketu, don't be worried. I'll bless you with a son. Only one condition. The son will be the cause of your greatest happiness. The son also will be the cause of your greatest sorrow. Is it okay? Never mind, he said. Never mind, just let me get a son. Anything else I will adjust. Anything else I don't mind. So eager. Narada Muni smiled and said, so be it. Tatastu. And he left. And Chitraketu's eldest wife became pregnant. Whole of the kingdom celebrated. My gosh, she's become Garbhini. Chitraketu has got blessing from Narada. He is going to have a heir to the throne. How wonderful! Everybody celebrated. And then gradually the time came for childbirth and a beautiful son was born to Chitraketu. Chitraketu was so happy. Just imagine a person 100 times he married to get a child and then finally he gets a child And Narada Muni has blessed him. So happy. Everybody is so happy. Chitraketu is happy. Chitraketu's wife is so happy. But there are always people who will be unhappy if somebody else is happy. Isn't it? What do you say? There are always people in this world. He is happy. No. That makes me very unhappy. They are called Parasukha Dukhi. A nice gentleman is Paradukha Dukhi. He is sad, man. I feel very sad. What can I do for him to make him happy? Paradukha Dukhi. Others' dukkha he takes and feels sad. Okay, he tells him something, gives him something. But envious people are Parasukha Dukhi. Somebody else is happy, they become sad. How can you do that? I have to enjoy him become Paradukha Sukhi. He is sad, I am happy. It's all various combinations. Paradukha Sukhi, Parasukha Dukhi, Paradukha Dukhi. Like that. So envious people are like that. What to do? And who do you think were unhappy? Naturally. Who do you think were unhappy?
The other wives.
I think you know that. The other wives did not get any attention from the king anymore. The king was always spending time with this lady who is pregnant, the first wife. And they were sitting with the kid, they were singing a lullaby, they were enjoying the kid, they were dropping the kid high, they were playing with him and everything, and these ladies were out. They had all the ornaments, they had all the jewels, they had all the facilities, they had all the kingly opulences in the palace and everything, but they did not have any attention. Sometimes you have all the money in the world, but you don't have attention. You don't like it. What's the use of money? Not getting attention on myself. So something or the other is always there that disturbs anybody in this world. So these wives said, they got together, how are you feeling? How are you feeling? I'm not feeling very good. You are also not feeling good. We are all not feeling very good. 99 of us are not feeling good. Why? They got together. And if women get together and do something, that can be deadly. And they got very, very envious of this one lady who became pregnant. Then they said that all our happiness has gone to the dogs, finished. It's all because of this one lady. Not even that lady, it's because of that child. As soon as that child has come into the kingdom, into the palace, all our peace has been destroyed. Horrible. It looks nice, very beautiful, wonderful, cuddly, everything, but that child is the cause of our unhappiness. So each one started discussing, talking. They had a, queen conference, the dissentient queen's conference. So they discussed, what shall we do? I said, what's the use of living like this? See, for the sake of one person's happiness, 99 people have to be unhappy. It's better that one person remains unhappy and 99 remain happy. You know what I mean? They said, yes, let's just kill the child. Everything become all right. He said, yes, what does it matter? We will get attention. King will look at us again. Just a matter of time. Everything will get adjusted. They plotted together. They killed that boy. Fed him poison. Killed that beautiful boy who was just 3 years old. Maharaj Chitraketu was enjoying for 3 years. His wife was enjoying for 3 years. Wonderful. One fine day they came and saw him on the cradle. He never got up. He said, wake up, son, wake up, wake up. And he wouldn't wake up. He didn't wake up. And whatever happened to Maharaj? Maharaj Chitraketu became crazy. Wake up, wake up. And then the wife came, wake up, wake up. And they found that he is actually dead. They were beating their chest and crying and wailing and screaming. Just couldn't take it. It cannot be, cannot be. And all the princes, the other queens were looking and wondering, oh my gosh, something we have done. Is there something going to happen? One way they were happy to see, nice, you cry now. All these days we were crying. 3 years we were crying, now you cry. That type of feeling, but at the same time they were also afraid in case something happens. Maharaj discovers that we are the ones who did it. He beheads all of us together. What will happen? He's king. Fear plus happiness mixed together. They were watching. And then Narada Muni and Angira Muni came there appropriately at that time. He came there and he said, "What happened, my king? What happened to you?" And I said, "I thank you so much for the benediction of getting a son. But now I have lost him. He is dead. He is gone. And I can't bear the pain. I can't be separated from my son. This is too much. It's very bad." Completely off. So Narada Muni smiled and said, "No, he's still there." "Why do you say he's not there? He's still there." No, he's not there." "No, he's there. I can see him." "No, that is only his body." He made him say it. "That's only his body. He's not there." So Narada Muni saw that this man is really destroyed, moved. Earlier he thought that this guy will not take an instruction from me, let him give him benediction and make him learn. Now within the benediction he found it shocking for me to give any instructions to him. So he thought of another thing. He brought the child back into his body. Narada Muni said, "I can see him, see?" The child got up. And Chitraketu was so happy. "Ah!" He said, "This is my child," he said. And the child spoke. Who child? Whose son? Whose father? The child spoke. So many fathers have had in so many lifetimes. And when I was a pig, I had father and mother. When I was a dog, I had father. When I was a demigod, I had father and mother. And I had that life, I had father and mother. When I was born to you, I had father and mother. You are not my father and mother for always. Krishna is my father. This is just a passing phase. Why are you calling me back here again? I don't think you are my father. You are not my father." The shock of his life. Hearing a 3-year-old boy talk, and Narada Muni just sat down and watched the reaction. Chitraketu transformed in front of Narada Muni. "Is it so?" And Narada Muni said, "Yes. Your spirit soul, you get into some body, establish some relationship with somebody, and that is broken at the time of death. So here is that boy who was your son. You can ask him whether he wants you to be his father again or that he wants to be your son again." They said, "No. Leave me alone. Why did you call me back? I got another journey to make back to Godhead." Chitraketu became very shocked to see his son talk like that. And he had a solid transformation. He bowed down, prayed, fell down at the feet of Narada Muni and said, "You opened my eyes. Now I know it must be your trick and your ploy to make me think, make me understand this." So we have, like Chitraketu had a fantastic realization and transformation. We have various types of perceptions and attachments and mindsets in our material life. And we think these are the things that are going to carry us forward. They are the ones that will give you the biggest disappointment. And how much ever you may cherish them, how much ever you hold them, cuddle them and be very happy, still, one day they will be separated from you. Because they don't belong to you. These conceptions, these perceptions, these attachments, they don't have any bearing on the real you. You are spirit soul, nothing to do with this material body, nothing to do with these material experiences, nothing to do with material interactions, and all these different feelings and thoughts that go about. So a person who is self-realized, he understands that. He tries to remain aloof and gets more attached to the Supreme Lord Krishna, gets more attached to his pastimes, to chanting his holy names, remaining with his devotees. And gradually, as more he does that, the more he sees what is material life about. The more he is able to see, the more he enjoys his own spiritual journey. So these are home truths. How much ever we think otherwise, This is the way life is. And even in material life, you can see that under a lot of conditions, we have a little enjoyment. That's also so temporary. The conditions are so many, like here. So many different types of anxieties and finally some little something. And for that sake, we go through so much. Like we have a description given by one of our acharyas, the condition of the living entity. That the story of a Brahmana who very, very attached to his family members, the money he has and that and this, everything. Finally, he sort of loses all his savings. When he gets out of his house, unable to bear the pain of separation from his assets, and his wife and children are scolding him, useless man. He gave up all the money, he didn't give it to us also to use it properly, and now you lost it. And the harassment, he ran away from his house. It's described that he ran away from his house into his forest. And in the forest he saw two wild, tigers chased him. He ran in the forest. He fell down, tumbled down head over heels in grapevines and thick forest. And he went here, there, somewhere and fell into a huge pit, like a well. And when he was falling down, oh my gosh, and suddenly he got stuck because some vines were hanging around his leg. And then he knew that he couldn't fall down also, he was suspended in the middle of the well. And down he could see snakes, scorpions and so many things. It's not a well, it's a bottomless pit. Then he looked up and he saw, oh my gosh, some vine has got him stuck and his legs are twined inside that and he's hanging. So he tried to straighten himself up and he found that that vine slowly it's actually splitting. It's actually giving way. He said, shoo, it's just a matter of time I'm going to fall down on all these snakes and scorpions. Then he saw that there were some white rats and some black rats coming and nibbling these things, making it faster happen. Then he saw from the top those two tigers waiting for him. He said, see, you come on top. And in this way he saw the whole situation like that. He saw down, he saw the sides all slippery with all sorts of insects and everything. And he's moving, swinging in that wine like that. Oh, he's screaming, nobody is there to hear him in that forest. And then he sees there is a honeycomb on top. Drip, drip, there is honey also falling in between. So as soon as he saw that, he put his tongue out. In that situation, he put his tongue out. Let's get a drop on our tongue. Although he is in such a precarious condition, he put us naturally. Everybody will do that. Everybody will do that. He was in such a precarious condition. And on top of that, another snake coming down the vine like it, coming towards him. And in that situation, the vine, the snake, the rats nibbling, the snakes down, the scorpions down, the tigers growling on top and everything together, he put his tongue out and said something. Very good. In spite of all these dangers, and the Acharya comments, this is the enjoyment of material life. Under all these different tensions, all these different things happening, a little bit, you think this is enjoyment. Why don't you understand that without all these things which are all illusory anyway, you can have free enjoyment with no hindrances, no conditions, no anxieties. In the spiritual world, Krishna is inviting, Yadgatvana nivartante tadhama paramam mama. Why don't we pay heed to Krishna's instructions, to his call? Your spirit soul, you're part and parcel of me. You have eternal enjoyment waiting for you. Why do you suffer like this in this illusory enjoyment? Simply to be separated from me and you want to enjoy. But you can enjoy with me. Anandamayo bhyasa. Everybody seeks enjoyment. Every soul wants ananda. That's the nature of the soul. But we are seeking it in the wrong place, under wrong conditions. It's horrible, full of anxiety to try to have enjoyment here. But we become free as free spiritual souls, parts and parcels of Krishna. In the service of Krishna, we can get a brilliant times greater enjoyment. So Krishna is inviting us. See, in the Bhagavad Gita, he is giving us an invitation to come and enjoy. Yadgatvana nivartante taddhama paramam mama parastasmattu bhavo nyo vyakto avyaktata sanatanaha yasas sarveshu bhuteshu nashyetsuna vinashyati. Nashyetsuna vinasyati. That abode of mine never gets vinasha. When everything else is destroyed, it remains permanent, shashvat. So he is inviting us to come there and enjoy. But somehow we are stuck. We have all these conceptions and we have all these ideas, and we start looking at Krishna's instructions also through these conceptions. It will be like that, it will be like this. See, like Prabhupada's example about how the coal miners were going underground and mining. And they had a horrible, hellish life because they go in the morning before the sun rises and they're inside in all this dirty, black, dingy situation inside with their headlights. By the time they come out, the sun has set. You never get to see the sun. And there are Christian preachers coming. And in the evening when they come, they stand on top of inverted boxes and preach, God is everything, He will save you, surrender to Jesus, everything. And all of them will come out of the mines and they're so tired, weary, with their hats on, they'll sip some tea and they'll watch him. And then everybody's scrambling and looking into the newspaper. The newspaper is the only source of information. What is happening in the outside world? Who's doing what, everything. So as soon as they come out, they all get to the newspapers. So that's their only source of it. After that they have to go home, take rest, next morning come again and go down inside. Horrible life, hellish life. So for them newspaper is everything. So as that a preacher is speaking, God is your Father, Jesus is the Savior, He is the Good Shepherd, He will save you, so many things going on. There, some of them are smoking, some of them drinking chai, some of them listening to newspapers, and they are all listening to him. There's no other go. And he's got a very good vantage situation. So after some time, one of them gets up and he's talking about the kingdom of God and, go back to the kingdom of God, everything. And one of them gets up and asks, are there newspapers here in the kingdom? He's seriously asking a question. He's not joking, he's serious. Are there newspapers in this thing? And then the Christian priest is so shocked. He said, he's trying to tell them there's more than all this stuff there, but he is so worried that I don't mind going to that place here, but if there's no newspaper, look at life, my life is saved by the newspaper. If there's no newspaper out there, what will I do? This is the paradigm of his thought, his mindset. He's so worried, it may be true everything that you're saying, but he's looking at it through his concerns. Will I get newspapers there to read? So the priest was shocked. Can I tell this fellow? Because it's not penetrating them. They are stuck in the paradigm. I don't mind going provided there are newspapers. Things sound good, whatever you're saying. But for us, the only thing here is the newspaper. Will I get that there too? This is the question. Sometimes we are so stuck in these paradigms, we are thinking, what he's saying sounds good, sounds logical, sounds scientific, intelligent, everything, but, when I get newspaper there, when I get so many silly concerns, all those things are more than met. In this way, our illusion takes the better of us. And even though we understand the spiritual subject matter, we subject that to our material judgment. That's another illusion. Prabhupada explained that. He said, Achintya khalavi bhava nadam starkena yojayat. This achintya, you cannot use your intelligence to understand it like that. Natam starkena yojayat, it is not subjected to any material argument or understanding. Some other times in a lesser vein, Prabhupada said, the material scientists are trying to accommodate the elephant on the saucer. It doesn't happen, he said. It doesn't work like that. So as long as we are bitten with the material concept of life, we will always think in this way.
But by the association of devotees, we can break that conception. Like Narada Muni broke Chitraketu's whole paradigm by bringing the child back and having him explain to him, no, useless father, you're on the wrong track. I'm already gone. You should also get up and go. Same way, we heard Jadabharat trying to crack open Rahugana's whole mindset, caught up in that mindset. So that transformation we have to make. And when we make the transformation, we become very relieved and very happy and peaceful. You don't lose anything. It's an illusion to think that you lose. You'll only gain. You'll only gain. You'll gain the max. How can the Lord make an arrangement for you which you will not gain with? What Krishna is saying in Bhagavad Gita, how can it be something that will detract from you? How can it be something that will take away from you? Father will never make a plan like that for you. He will make a plan. Nate vidu swartha gatim hi Vishnu, taking into his whole idea and exercise, all your interests will be satisfied. That faith one should have. Krishna is not some foreign element. He is your Supreme Father. He will not do anything to you that you may not like. He will only always help you to be happy. That simple faith we have, and we go ahead and follow the instructions given in the Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita, will be peaceful and happy. Om Tat Sat Srila Prabhupada ki, Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Nitai Gaura Premanande.